welcome in everyone. Thank you for being here. As you can see, today I'm joined by stick figure Kurt. Um, this is the Adderstone Games podcast. I'm Darren, and this is stick figure Kurt. Real Kurt is currently in Tokyo on a business trip. I'm related to Adderstone Games to do with his music escapades through Japan. So I'm here solo today with you guys, which means I'll need even more help from you guys than usual. But I'm sure you'll be able to help me out. We're going to do a quick stream, I guess, a short stream. Well, it depends. Maybe I get stuck into work and I just work for 3 hours and it's all on stream. Although I've had plates for people that sometimes our streams are too long. I don't know if that's possible for you guys in chat. You're like, no, just stream forever. But how's everyone doing? How am I doing? How are you guys doing? I'm doing good. I had a weird few days with our kitten, Bobo. He's recently become a bit scared sometimes. He's especially scared when someone knocks on the door, if they have a delivery or something like that coming. Because they knock on the door quite loud to get your attention, right? And then Bobo immediately runs under the sofa and hides. And then he might just be there for the next 3 hours. And it feels really bad, because he's obviously scared. And I would happily have him run into my arms and, we would protect him. But he doesn't want to do that. He wants to be by himself. And then, no amount of coaxing will get him out from under the sofa. So it just feels okay to leave him there. But it still feels bad. But eventually he'll come out. Today he had a weird night. Like usually he sleeps in the bed with us. Not in the bed, like on the bed somewhere. And last night he didn't. He was just on the floor. He had a scared day yesterday. And then this morning he kind of just wasn't interested in any of us. And went under the sofa again because someone knocked on the door. And I thought, oh no, it's going to be another day where he spends the whole day under the sofa, is it? That feels bad. But then later on in the morning while we were getting ready, Jasmine and I both went upstairs. And I thought maybe if I call him, he'll come. He doesn't usually respond to our voices that much, but I gave him a call then. And then within 5 minutes, he kind of creeped upstairs and then jumped onto the bed. And then we gave him a hug, and then he was really affectionate. So that was really sweet and reaffirming and very lovely. And I just fed him, and he was very happy. And Thursdays, which are stream days, are great days for Bobo because the night before I put out the bin bags, and we have these new bins now. They're like these canvas fabric giant sacks that we put all the recyclings in. Leave them outside, and then in the morning I bring them back in again once they've been collected. And the one's bright red and one's bright blue, and they're massive. And Bobo loves crawling around in them. He likes hiding in things. So those things are ideal. So on Thursdays he has a very special day where there's lots of things to climb and hide inside in the kitchen. So that's where he is right now, having a great time. How everyone else is doing? Zilfi says streams are never too long. Yeah, that's what I thought you might say. Doing pretty good. Sleep deprived thanks to my pup. You have a puppy. Maybe our puppy and our kitten can be friends. That's lovely. Please post pictures of your puppy in the Discord. And Quentin says, I'm at work as usual, so chats might be slow. But yeah, poor kitten, yeah. Don't worry about the chats. I don't want to say what kind of work you do, but it's always great when, I don't know, I think it's good people have works that learn to not necessarily allow them, but, you can focus on two things at the same time. That's always fun. Yeah, my pup loves everyone, so I'm sure he would love to be friends. Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so as for Avalon, just more exciting stuff really. I this morning and yesterday, I sent a bunch of stuff to the factory to get it ready for printing. Mostly auxiliary stuff like the art prints, the maps, the canvas map of Avalon, which is going to be awesome. The minis, that kind of stuff. I also handed over all of the concept art and all of the artwork, plus the behind-the-scenes commentary for the entire art book to the layout artist on Tuesday, I think. That was a lot of work, but happy that it got done, and now the layout artist can start working on that, which is awesome. And last week I wrote rules for all of the legendary artifacts that we finished working on stream together. So that's cool, and now Kurt is in the process of finishing the lore ideas that we wrote together. So that's great. That's another section of the book. And then tomorrow, or later today even, I'm going to start working on the bestiary, which is like loads of stat blocks for 5e and for Legends of Von. And then that's kind of it. Once that's done, there's just a few introductory chapters for each of the sections, like the opening lore for Avalon and some other bits and bobs that need to be done, but then the book's finished, so it really is coming to the end. Quote says, I work at a dog's boarding kennels. Oh, cool. Also a dog fan. Currently out with 4 tiny Maltesers. I'm not very good with dog breeds, and all I see there is Maltesers. I assume you're just walking 4 giant chocolate balls that are just rolling down a hillside. They don't care if I listen to stream through my earbuds. Yeah, fair enough. Cool. Well, that's great. I mean, yeah, so slight tangent. When I lived in Japan, which is where I met Kurt and my wife Jasmine, I worked at a school, and the school was I think it was more like a 30 to 40 minute cycle ride from my apartment, but I made it into a 20-minute cycle ride, A, because I was always late, and B, it's just fun to cycle fast, you know? And I miss it so much. I miss having a reason to go outside and cycle. I was so much fitter then, and yeah, so any job that requires you to go outside, whether it's the job or, you know, for commuting reasons, is great. So now, because I don't have that and I work at home, which is very poor for my legs and my health, Jasmine works in an office about a 40-minute walk from here. So when she goes to the office, I'll walk with her halfway, and then when she returns, I'll walk to go meet her as well, just to give myself an excuse to leave the house, because otherwise I will be indoors forever writing about fantasy worlds, because that is my job. Chocolate bulldogs, exactly. I guess bulldogs are a type of breed as well, right? The UK bulldog. So you can have a brown coloured bulldog. Alright, the teeny tiny white fluffy things. These are 4 years old. That's a little bit scabby. These 4 are, they are old, so they are a bit scabby. That's funny. So I can also show you where the rulebook is currently, because it's awesome. This is the most recent draft that I got this morning from the layout artist. Shout out Squish. And I guess I could talk to you about what changes between every version. This is just small stuff, right, guys? One thing that changed between this version and the previous version, maybe I have to double check it actually. Oh, maybe I could show you on stream the difference. There you go, let's do that. Book design, there you go, this is behind the scenes in all my folders. A Squish layout, and then we're on, this is layout 6, the previous one was layout 5. Let's see, we can check together what's changed. Yep, there you go. So one of the big changes was, not a big change, one of the notable changes is I asked them to reduce the thickness of this line by half. And there it is. Is it reduced by half? I guess I'm a bit zoomed in here. It is reduced by half, yeah. So it's things like that, I don't know, to me, I noticed them, I'm like, oh, I think that line's a bit too thick, please reduce it by half, and then they reduced it by half, and I'm happy. There's loads of little things that get changed like that, because I don't know if I have a good eye for design, or if I have a particular eye, it might be both. But I tend to notice little things, I'm like, oh, I want this to be just a bit different. So what else changed? A bunch of other stuff changed was the way the artwork was presented or distributed, or what particular art was on what particular page. I just gave them a bunch of notes on that. For example, this page is a good example. Excellent artwork from our original Legends of Avalon book there, displaying a pen-bive tree town. In the previous version, for example, it was 2 different artworks on the page. This was people hunting, this was in the forest town, and these artworks all take place in the Penbythe Forest, so they're appropriate to be in this chapter, because it's the Penbythe chapter. But I didn't like that it was 2 different artworks on 2 different pages, and 2 different subjects and 2 different corners. And to me, it just, I mean, I guess if you're looking at this page, you see artwork here, and you're looking at this page, you see artwork here, and it's different, that's interesting maybe. But I knew in my head that this artwork could just spread across the entire page and unify them together. So we're just like, just get rid of this artwork and put that one all the way across. So that's what they did, and I prefer this. I think it makes it more unified and just more cohesive. So it's little things like that where I go through and just ask for additions. Another big change, oh, I really like this. They've done a great job here. So some of the artwork doesn't have these background features, like this one does. this one doesn't. And I ask all the artists to include those, but sometimes they kind of get lost in the way. But we have so many of them now because we have so many character arts that I just said to the layout artist, look, you've got loads of these, just add some to other places. And so that's what they've done. They've included the background brushstrokes, I call them brushstrokes, to colour all the characters, and it just makes it look better, makes the character pop, I think. So that's awesome. And then the other big change as well is we added the new version of the world map. So this is the old world map from the Legends of Arlen core rulebook from 2021 now, I think, 4 years ago, maybe in 2020. No, I think we funded in 2020 and it published in 2021. So yeah, shout out to Joe, my good friend. It was his birthday yesterday. He made this map for us and we love it, but we needed to update it because of all the new locations. And so this version of the draft now has the new version of the map. Although feedback for this piece, for example, is that there's actually more. There's more to the Penlevy lands up here, which was included in this version, and so this map needs to be moved up a bit. There can be less Ataraxia here and more Penlevy. But that's feedback for the next draft, so I need to check that. What else has changed? Yep, again, new map art. Oh, it looks so good. Little things as well, like the map artist was great, but I coloured this roof in blue. That was me. I did that. Amazing. Quotes, the map looks so good. Yeah, I know, it is really good. I'm really happy with it. Shout out to Melissa Nash, who made this map. Did such a good job. Taking on all my feedback all the time and slowly improving it and making it better and better. And scrolling further. Again, this is now most of the book, I think. Again, except for the bestiary and the item artifacts. Is it bestiary or is it bestiary? Is it one with the roof? Thank you, Sophia. Yeah, I really like it. I always say, when I was younger, I thought it was bestiary because it has the word beast in it, and it's a section of the book about beasts, right? And so I would write it B-E-A-S-T, bestiary. And then when I got older and wiser, I realized it was B-E-S-T. So that's like I changed my pronunciation to bestiary, but I'm actually not completely sure. I said it like beast, but obviously it's not spelled that way. Yeah, both are correct, depends on where you're from. Well, then I need to find out the version from where I am from so I can represent my cultural heritage or something. Awesome, thank you both. Yeah, again, so example here, I think I'm going to give feedback that I know this artwork extends across here, and so I might get rid of this piece and just have the same art go all the way across. I'm really happy with these Face Seeker sections. And okay, here's something, guys, blasphemous. We might be removing artwork. I know that sounds bad, but I'll explain more in a second. I did the same, took a while to notice the lack of... 100%. So this is our Face Seeker section. This is like the advanced character rules for becoming a Face Seeker and all the powers you can get and how fairy tricks work. And so we have I think this is new for you guys on stream. We have like a mini chapter for each fairy court that you can align yourself with, right? And I think this looks good. You let me know if it doesn't, because we can change it. But obviously we have artwork for all of the gods, but I feel like having artwork for, although the artwork for the gods is great and wonderful, as a player and a Face Seeker, like as a player, as a character in the world, you wouldn't be seeing the gods very often, right? That would be part of an epic quest, but actually getting to meet a god and see what they actually look like. And so for the player facing section, I realized that I had these concept arts. Here, let me show you. So this is this artwork here, right? Of all these statues that the Valak are worshipping that represent each of the Everones. And that's the opening art for this chapter, because it's about devotion, right? And Raphael, shout out Raphael, who's our lead artist, in the process of making this illustration, he did concept sketches for each of these statues, right? And I realized that I could repurpose those sketches to be like representative idols of the gods, and then use those in the player facing section so they can see a representation of the god as the Valak would see it. This is how they would worship the god, right? This is what they would see of the Everchild. And then I added some color to them to make them just look better because they were just grey to begin with. And then the actual artwork for the god has been saved for the Game Master section, and obviously the art book. And so then if the Game Master wants to show the artwork to the players, then they can, obviously. So I kind of like the idea of the players seeing this human Varlic representation of the god rather than the actual artwork. But the actual artwork is so much better, right? So where's the actual artwork? Oh, there's no bookmarks yet. The actual artwork would be over here somewhere. Let me find it quickly so I can show you what the players are missing out on and what I feel bad about. So here's the actual artwork of the Everchild, right? It's amazing, but it's also kind of faux pas printing the art twice in a book, I feel like. So if I put it in the player section, then put it again here, that feels weird as well. So I do think it's better that the players get this kind of in-world representation of them and the JMs get the actual illustration. Although I want this artwork to be bigger, which is another conversation that we're having right now. So yeah, another part of the feedback I'm giving is this... I would double up the art in the same book, yeah. Yeah, I agree with that, I guess. And that's part of what I'm talking about now, I think, as well. So a new section that's added to this book is... to this draft of the book, is the Secrets of Avalon that we've been writing on stream for the past month or so. So this is the Everchild's Realm. Look at this amazing artwork. And all the quests and all the secret lore for Maponos, the Everchild, and all the different fairy courts, right? Look at the fairy dog here, lovely. And we realised that there was so much Everchild Realm art is gorgeous. Oh, you like that? Good. I'm so glad you like that, because this is kind of a sad story in a way. This artist is a friend of our graphic designer and illustrator Chrissy Diggs, who works on this project. And she's a friend from university, I think. And she works in the games industry, and she's worked with like Riot Games and like League of Legends and Blizzard and things like that, big companies. And she wanted to do some extra stuff on the side. And so I managed to reach out to her, and she agreed to do something with us. But she ended up becoming far too busy to do more than one illustration. I had her pegged in for doing 3, but she only did 1 in the end. So on the one hand, I'm very happy that this one illustration from her made it into the book, got finished. But I'm also sad that there won't be more, you know. Maybe in the future, we'll see. Yeah, and then because I knew she might be too busy, I was very particular about which artwork she would do first. But here's the other side of that artwork, by the way, of the person being pulled into the portal by their friends at camp. This blueback's just like ushering this poor person through this stone portal. And so I was like, okay, if I could get this artist to do 1 illustration, what would it be? And it was definitely the giant land Everchild realm fairy kind of thing going on. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Quality. Yeah. Anyway, so there's so much content in this section that the layout artist said, look, to get this onto 4 pages, 4 spreads rather, we'll have to cut some artwork, or I could put it over 5. And we ended up deciding going with 4, just because, as you know from earlier streams, I've been worried about how big the book will get. That's been a problem with Against the Fairy Queen. So we ended up cutting artwork. But in the end, that's a good thing, because the artwork that got cut was we have multiple illustrations for the Telwyth Teg. We have like a kind of like a good version and an aggressive version. And so only one of them's ended up in each of these chapters. But then I've realised that's a good thing, because then I can use the second artwork for the bestiary. And then we don't have double up artwork, because originally my intent was to include the arts here and then the art in the bestiary as well. But if we have 2, then I could just put 1 here and 1 in the bestiary. And so when I realised that, I realised I could do the exact same thing in these sections. So this section has 2 Fey artworks. It has this little stick guy, and it has this kind of aggressive archer, Lil, for example. And I think I'm actually going to ask the layout artist to remove one of these, to remove the aggressive version. And then that means that then this hero artwork could be even bigger, because there'll be more space, right? And then the aggressive version can then be saved for the bestiary, and then the artwork isn't doubled up either. So that's what I meant earlier by we're actually removing artwork, but it's not, that's me being facetious, it's not actually leaving the book, it's just getting put somewhere else. So I think what I end up doing is asking for this statue artwork to be on this side of this page and larger. Then this guy's artwork would be down here, for example, and larger, and this guy would be larger, and this artwork would be moved to the back of the book. And same for all these other chapters, you see the similar sections. So yeah, those are the Face Seeker sections. They look awesome. I'm so happy with these character illustrations done by Anselmi. He did a wonderful job with them. They look so awesome. And it's funny actually, I think they came later in the process. Like I wasn't sure what I was going to do for these, if I was even going to have hero artwork there. But I think I soon realized that, oh, it's really important for the players to have like an illustration of what these kind of characters are like, right? So getting these heroes in was really important. And they look fantastic. And then, yep, then we have the Avalon World Adventures. You guys have seen this before, with the maps. And then we have the Other World Lore section. Nope, that's still Adventures. Now we have the Other World Lore section. And I guess I can show you the artworks of the gods while we're here. So we have the Everchild's Realm. There is the Everchild. Everchild Realm map. It's a giant kind of thing. Again, this is me. I couldn't add like a giant's house without putting some skeletons and blood in there, so I added that. Sorry guys, I know this map is very pretty and happy, but with the giant bumblebees, but we needed to add some gore in there. Evermother's Realm, we've got some partying Allil. Then there's the Evermother, looking glorious. There's our Kernanos character. And then people who played against the Fairy Queen, you'll know her. She's here. Evermother's Realm map. Then Everstranger's Realm. This is a depiction of a court. Everstranger. I kind of want this artwork to be bigger as well, so I'll try and figure out how to do that. Hopefully this text can fill up here more to make that bigger. We'll see. Everfather's Realm. Section's not finished today. Spoiler, that's what we're working on once we finish looking at this draft. Ever Elder's Realm. This artwork's cool as well. It shows like this tunnel with water above you, the Morrigan flowing through to this palace in the distance. It's just mysterious and strange. Ever Elder's artwork. I really like this piece. Again, it needs to be bigger. And obviously these lines won't be here in the final version. Yeah, this piece is so good. It's like the two sides of her. We had I think we discussed about this in stream a long time ago now, months ago. But the idea whether it would be like she would be split down the middle on two sides of the face, but then we ended up being kind of inspired by like anglerfish, you know? There's the lure, and then there's the creature behind that's terrifying. Everything is gorgeous. Yeah, so excited. Thank you. Yeah, it is. It's good for me to hear that from you guys as well, because obviously when you're so close to projects and you've seen us make it from the beginning to the end now, like everything, when you're so close to it and you're the one making it, it's difficult to appreciate how big it is and how amazing it is really. Because I know all the details of like how this was all made, so it's hard to appreciate it. So hearing it from you guys is lovely. And it's like a small thing as well. It's like, okay, I have to ask the layout artist why this happened, or if there's a reason, but this artwork is here, and that's great. And it might, but it's like, it'd be better if it's on this page, because this page has no artwork, right? So couldn't it just go here and the text just shift down, hopefully. And that's the end. So far, 160 pages. We've got the bestiary and the legendary artifacts to go. So I am hoping it will actually be even less than 250 pages, which would be amazing considering how much content is in here. So yeah, that's where we are now. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, okay, cool. So what am I working on today? I think I'm going to continue on from where we were last week, which is working on the Everfather's Realm. We're just going to brainstorm some secrets together so that I can finish this off stream. What artwork should I put up? Maybe the Everfather would be good. Let's find the Everfather, 1 second. Art. God. Actually, I don't know why I'm hiding this. You guys can see this, it's fine. It's the Everfather. Is there any update on when it'll be coming to us, or is it still generally about November? Yeah, so at this point, it's I think in the last update on Kickstarter I wrote is that we're still planning to have the book done by September. And what that means is, I don't know if we're going to hit that exact deadline. I think it might be end of September or beginning of October. It just depends on how fast we finish these last sections and the layout gets done. And then what will happen is I will set up the pledge manager. And then once everyone completes their surveys, they will get the PDF. And then from that point on, it's kind of hands off the wheel from me. Then it just depends on how long it takes the factory to make the stuff, how long it takes to ship across the world, and then get to your doorstep. But it should be, book is done September-ish. Printing happens in October, and then the shipping happens in November. So it should be with you in November. If there are delays, then December. And obviously I don't want it to be in December because shipping costs more then because of obviously Christmas and everything like that. But it is what it is. It should be with you before Christmas. Is ideally. I don't see what could possibly delay it except big world events, or something happens on our end where we're really stuck on something. But I don't think that's going to happen with the way things have been going. So yeah, it should be on time really, which is good. Being on time is good. So yeah. Thank you all for your patience. Yeah, it does feel weird, but we're also grateful when we launch a project and say, you know, this will be with you in 1 year's time. Please support it, and then people do support it, and then. But yeah, I guess you've all seen what we've been doing to make it, so yeah, it's very much appreciated. If I get a birthday delivery, it's okay. Cool. Awesome. But then, yeah, hopefully, birthday delivery indeed. Okay, so last week, Kurt and I, and you guys, brainstormed the locations that these different fairy courts for the Everfather's realm would be in. And actually, so Kurt's done most of the other chapters for this. This is me, kind of for the first time, doing this kind of fairy court chapter by myself. And I realized that I actually really liked Kurt's approach of doing the location first, because then it really grounds it in the world and kind of generates ideas from there. So I kind of see why he did that for all the other sections, and I appreciate that more now. We're just going to pick a few random things and just go for it, I guess. It is difficult. I think both me and Kurt work much better when we can bounce ideas off each other. So I might try and bounce ideas off you guys. But let's get started. So for the Everfather himself, we brainstormed his origin story, which is great. His secret, which is great, and then we said that he lives in this giant glass fortress that's at the top of the mountainside, and you can see through it as absolute transparency because it's all about honesty and justice. And then we've got to think of some other locations. Where does the Everfather meet for his court? And my initial instinct was like a giant hall with a big fire in it, because he's so warrior-esque. But another thing about the Everfather is that he's all about contest and challenge and overcoming things. So I think a really important feature for him would be like a location where people can compete with each other, right? Whether it's like martial bouts, like sparring, or like contests of strength, or sports. And I guess those could happen in a giant hall. Like you could have a giant hall with like a arena in the middle of them. Or they can happen in some kind of courtyard. Sylvia says, volcano vibes from me. Yeah, that's a great idea. Like, I said a giant bonfire. A giant fire in a hall. But the Everstranger's World has these magical bonfires that attract spirits in them. And the Everfather's all about fire, but it could just be like a lava spout instead. That's way more exciting, right? Than just an actual fire. So, let me add that at the very least. Like, if there's going to be a fire, which there will be, it's featuring I don't know what you call this, volcano fissure, like a volcano fissure fire, something like that. Yeah, let's go with just like giant hall. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I'm imagining now like a giant hall with like, because it's hard to get away from the Valhalla kind of thing, because the Everfather's very like that warrior culture vibe. So I don't know if I want to get too close to like Valhalla vibes. That maybe that's bad. Not that it's bad, but that's obviously its own different culture that we'd visit one day. So maybe I don't want to do a giant hall. But my initial instinct was like a giant hall with tables around the edges, and in the middle there's like an arena, and at the end there's the volcano fire thing that keeps the whole place warm and going. Yeah, island inside a very large volcano. So the fortress itself is like this giant glass fortress, and now I'm trying to brainstorm like a location inside it. But you're right, the fortress could be around the top of the volcano, and there could be a bit in the middle, for sure. Maybe he doesn't meet in the giant. Maybe he just meets. Yeah, I'm going to go back to my other idea. Just like a giant courtyard, with a giant open air courtyard. Open air courtyard with arenas for contests, and a volcano fissure fire for. What's it for? For like barbecues. It's like for heating, like cooking meat and stuff like that. For cooking meat. And forging. It's just like this awesome place for contests. I'm imagining as well like Miami Beach kind of like gym vibes, like open air gym vibes, where people are there just like working out, getting super buff and crazy. Open air. That is Miami Beach, isn't it? I think Miami Beach gym vibes. Yeah, cool. That'll be enough for Kurt, I think. Volcano magma fits with his look. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I love his design. And it's one of those weird things again where it's like, okay, we don't actually have volcanoes in the UK, you know? In fact, we don't even have very tall mountains. We do have some mountains, but they're not that tall. But this is the other world, right? So we can kind of do whatever we want. And it's just too cool not to. So, yeah. Okay. Then what about his super secret place? Like where does the Everfather go when where does he go to be by himself, or what does he do, or what's like a thing that's hidden inside his fortress? Oh, I guess also he should have like his giant throne should be his giant mountain throne sits above it all. And I feel like this is going to be somewhat similar to the Evermother. Like, the Evermother has, like, this giant tree that her fortress is inside. And inside the tree, there's this, like, secret room. And because she's, like, a tree shaper, she can just, like, move through the tree to get there. And I feel like the Everfather's thing might be similar, where it's inside the mountain and he can just, like, meld through the mountain to get to it. But then what's there, I don't know. I'm thinking, like, what would a giant super warrior want? And it could be sentimental things, like it could just be like weapons, like artifacts from his mortal life. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, because obviously in the Celtic warrior culture, when great warriors and leaders would die, they would be buried with their items, right? They'd be buried with their sword, with their chariot, with their horses even. So maybe he has like his artifacts from when he was a human stored somewhere in like his own burial chamber. Even though he's not dead. Sophie says, a place you wouldn't expect. Not sure whether it be a place of weakness. Oh, a place of weakness is interesting as well. Ha. You know, there's also I don't have this too much, but there's a lot of there's Welsh Celtic lore of giants having their heads being stored inside hillsides and mountains and things like that. But I don't know how I'd make that work. Like the Everfather taking his head off his own body and putting it in a mountainside, that seems a bit silly. Okay, I'm gonna write down. I'm just gonna like I'm okay with like moving on if I don't have ideas. So I'm gonna write down. Consider place of weakness or vulnerability, inspired by warrior burial chambers with where he keeps the human artifacts of his life he would have been buried with. And maybe those ideas can be combined together, like there's something else there as well that's part of his life. Yeah, it's a fun idea for now. Quaddy says, oh, so it says strength can also be overcoming weakness. So he goes back to the place of weakness to reflect. Yeah, somewhere to reflect. drink. And Querty says, when you said that, my mind immediately went to like tunnels lined with giant heads on shells. Look at us, right? Yeah, that's cool. Problem with that is the they'd have to be like good heads or something. Like the Penlevy are the culture that, you know, take the heads of their enemies and store them. You know what? We didn't really quite embrace that actually. Now that you said that, I feel like there should have been something about that in their other world. Shoot, we have a lot of spirits there, but not so much of heads. I'll have to make sure to emphasize it in the Penlevy culture at least, and maybe consider adding it to the other world. But yeah, an ossuary. Cool. All right, I'm gonna leave that for there for now. What is this? Oh, this is like the legendary lore. So I guess this is about the Drake. You mentioned this in stream last time. I'll write a note quickly that the Drake is buried beneath Mons Gorseth in Avalon, and could be revived essentially. We don't have to linger on that much longer. Cool. Alright, so we have the Court of Triumphs, which is his fairy court. And inside that court we have 3 houses. We have T. Sokolos, the House of Craft, T. Belanus, the House of Fire. House of Fire, House of Flame. I'm not sure. Flame sounds cooler, right? I don't know why. Flame sounds cooler than fire. Flame, Fire, House of Fire. House of Fire sounds like the house is on fire. House of Flame sounds more purposeful. Flame sounds cooler. Yeah, cool. Glad you, glad you agree. I've also considered changing it to like House of Purity instead, or House of Lights or something, to make it like... But then, I don't know, it feels like the Everfather's fate would be direct. Like, yes, we like fire, so we called our place the House of Flame. Forge. Yeah, we have House of Crafting. So House of Craft or the House of Forge. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. And the last one was House of Order. Like, this one I'm not sure about as well, exactly. So we have Tiandraste. She's Victory, right? She's literally Victory. And I was originally thinking of, like, Justice. But I think I kind of reframed it to Order. Because Justice, is, I feel like, is a part of Order. Like, the world being orderly means that it is just. And part of their role as well is to hunt the Drake in the other world. And for them, I think that's also bringing order. So even though it feels weird to call something a House of Order, I don't know if there's a better word for that, but I kind of like the idea of it over Justice. I'm not sure, but House of Justice sounds way more inspiring though, you know? So I'm not sure about that either. House of Justice reminds me of a courtroom. Yeah, exactly, and you're right, that's what I don't want it to be. Like, this isn't a place where people are judged. It's a place full of people that make the world right. They enact justice into the world. Yeah, so maybe that's a reason not to call it the House of Justice, because it is exactly, it's not that. It's not a courtroom. Yeah. Okay, cool. So what we're doing now is we're brainstorming secrets and lore for these guys. So T. Succulus, last week we said they live in a giant Kermons, which are these mountain citadels that are carved into the mountainside. Because of the House of Crafting, they keep building it. It's constantly under construction. They're building new layers that go deeper and deeper inside it. Every kind of room might exist there in a different architectural marvel. Yeah. I think maybe House of Just. House of the Just. That sounds a little odd. Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then we have the lead Fae for this house. Is Sukelos, the good striker. He's like a great bearded man carrying a long-handled hammer, and that like symbolizes like crafting, basically stone, metal work, and also protector. And his role is to inspire crafters. And now we get to the point where it's like, forget like exactly how we do this. Like, we need to give this guy a secret, and it could be anything. And like the easiest go-to is like, oh, he's secretly plotting to like overturn the Everfather. But I can't imagine why an architect would care about that. Right? Like, what is... This guy is a grand architect. He loves building things. What is his secret? My initial instinct was that he wants to build things in Avalon. Like, he's building this like never-ending giant fortress inside the other world, but because the other world is infinite in its own right and has these strange properties to it, things can go on forever. Like, that sounds like unrestricted freedom to build whatever you want, but as we all know, restriction breeds creativity, and I think he would much rather build for an exact purpose in an exact place, in a space, and make it as efficient and as great as possible. And that's like the true worth of making something, right? Is seeing it in practical use in the real world. And the fact is that this chap has to constrain himself to building in the other world where there's less purpose for it. So, like, we can do the classic secret of this person goes to Avalon when he's not supposed to and makes things there. Or we could do that's something that he wants to do, but hasn't done it yet and is planning to do something. Like, he really wants to start building in Avalon. And he's working some way of making that happen. For example, he could be building his fortress, because there are tunnels that in the Great Mountain that lead back to Avalon, right? He could be excavating and building towards one of those tunnels so that he could build out into Avalon again. Yeah, all of these things I kind of like the idea of. Flame, what have we got here? Okay, no one said anything yet, that's fine. So, I think something like that is interesting to me. Isaiah. Yeah, if he's sneaking his way out to do stuff, sounds like a future war waiting to happen. Yeah, exactly. And that's fun, but I already have things like that. I mean, I have Faye going out into the world and, you know, making mischief and interacting with people, and that's fine, but building things feels something different. It feels more permanent, you're right. And it sounds like something Everfather wouldn't want. So I think maybe I'll just leave it open. Maybe me and Kurt can confirm it later. This is me being non-committal. But let's just write down, I like the idea of him wanting to build in the mortal realm, because, and Kurt will love this, because Kurt is also a fan of restriction breeds creativity, because restrictions breed creativity, and the infinite space of the other world makes construction less inspiring. Either he is building in Avalon 2, scratch that itch, or he is building his inner fortress to search for tunnels that lead to Avalon. So he can build out there. The Everfather would never approve of this. Because that's the thing, that the Everfather, his whole thing is that he doesn't lie. And he's completely honest. And so it's going to be interesting giving people secrets in this place, because they shouldn't have them. And maybe there aren't actually so many secrets. So, is he lying about this? So that would be a terrible thing for him to do, right? And that would get him punished, but I guess that's the point of a secret. And that's the point of adding secrets like this, because it adds drama. I would never prove this, so he lies about it. Yes. Yeah, okay. Okay, then we have Nanto Suelta, who's this guy's partner. Her name can be Warmth or Sun. She's often shown as a woman carrying a pole, topped with a small house-shaped symbol, accompanied by a bird. She represents prosperity, and she builds houses. So basically, we decided she's like the interior designer to Sokolos. Like, he makes the outside, and then she builds the inside. I think usually for the side gods, we give them like an extra location or thing that they do. So she probably has some kind of great workshop where she just makes stuff, right? Like furniture and things like that. But how do we make that interesting? How do we make an interior designer, an otherworldly interior designer interesting? We could just tie into the prosperity side of things, that woods. Obviously make things interesting. She does make stuff too, like so she could have a forge. She could be crafting like tools and things. I had a question about the Toltec actually, says Qwerty. Is there just like one for each house sort of deal, or is there more that could be made up, just like they're stronger than the standard Fae? Is there one kind of creature I don't overly understand? Yeah, cool. So the the Toltec are like super Fae, right? They have been chosen by their god, been granted extra powers and responsibilities. And each of the courts is run. Each of the houses is run by a Toltec. Then the other Fae that we list here, so T. Sokolos is run by T. Sokolos, but then Nantusuelta and Alasianos, they're also Toltec. So for each house, we list at least 3 Toltec in that section to give you the most important kind of members of that house. But as a game master, and we'll be mentioning this in the opening chapter that's not been written yet, you are free to create and add as many Toltec as you like. This is not a list of all the Toltec. This is a list of the most important Toltec for our lore, and you're welcome to come up with others yourself. And the Toltec kind of range between powerful Fae to like demigods. And the ones that you include in the book have all been specifically inspired by Celtic deities, but you can make your own inspired by other deities, the ones that we might have missed, or any kind of Fae you want. You can even make it a plot point as well. Like you could be trying to help a Fae become a Toltec by doing some kind of great quest for their god to prove themselves, that kind of stuff, right? So that's all there. Hope that makes some sense. So he lies about it. So what does interior designer want or do? What's special and magical about them? Because we already have like a housekeeper Fae in the Everchild's realm, and we have like an invention Fae in the other Child's realm as well. But I really want like a forge person. Or a crafting person, someone who makes like really practical things. So maybe that's going to be this person. Yeah. But then let's go from the other angle. So if you're a person and you worship this fairy court, you're going to be some kind of engineer, builder, tool-making person, and your job is to make something that lasts, right? When you worship the Everchild, you're trying to build something new. You're trying to create potential, trying to create something innovative. It might not work perfect and it might not last very long, but it's the new idea that matters. But if you're worshiping the Everfather, it's all about endurance, strength, long lasting, right? So you're trying to make something that lasts forever. That's the dream. So does she have tools to make things last forever? Does she judge tools? Does she test them? Does she just have the tools that last forever and sometimes she bestows them to other crafters? I don't know, I'm really stuck with her. Prosperity, builds houses, let's do interior designer. Tools, crafted furniture that lasts forever. Alright, I'm going to skip over her for now and listen to an idea in chat. No, okay. Alright, then I'm not sure about this one. Okay. Alisanos, this guy I feel is much easier. He is like a god, well for us would be Toltec, of like mountain and stone. So he just loves stone. He loves minerals, which is obviously very appropriate for the Everfather and for people that make stuff. So he's like the demigod of like mining, right? So he has a huge quarry with every kind of stone mineral, plus rare metals procured from Ivanan. So I think this is just going to be like a trading hub. You bring rare materials and can take rare materials out. Like if heroes need Everstone, which is a super valuable rare material only found in the Otherworld, Then they can bring metals, right? Because metals can't be found in the other world, and they could trade there. So, for example, trade metals for Everstone. I think like that kind of thing is fine. Only, but here's the thing: only if you can mine it yourself. Mine it yourself, right? Still have to prove yourself with strength. Like, it's not like a actual market where you hand over things. You give a donation, and then you have permission to work on the stone. I like that idea. Okay, so that's that house done already, I guess. Not so bad, although this middle person I'm really still stuck with. But maybe we'll come back to it, or something I could talk to Kurt about. Let me drink some water, because I've been talking fast for the past 45 minutes. I kind of get a glimpse now what it's like being a streamer, where you have to talk constantly. Although I have to imagine it's easier if you're playing a video game, because there's things always happening that you can react to, whereas I'm just trying to create content instead, so that requires, you know, imagination and thought and things. But I'm just literally just trying to talk out loud what I'm thinking. No filter. Oh no. Okay, so Te Balanus. We said they live in some kind of superheated, maybe obsidian fort, surrounded by a giant wall of fire in a lava pit that flows out from beneath it, like building out the infinite mountain. So it's like how the mountain continues to make new areas and things like that. It's from this giant lava area, and they're in charge of it, and they guard it. They worship the lava source and guide it. Yeah. So now we have a really important deity, Teg rather, because Balanus is obviously quite an iconic Celtic god, and he's known for his festival, giant bonfire festival, his fire, and his healing properties. Why did I write the word ground fire? Oh, right, because I'm saying, okay, comparing the different Teg. We have Balanus, who's about like actual fire that's found on the ground. We have Taran, who's about thunder and storms, so it's fire from the sky. And Bordvo and Bormana, they mean bubbling hot springs, so I imagine that's fire from beneath the earth. So, what does Balanus do? I think I really want to embrace like the healing side of it, like the what do you call it? Cauterizing, right? You cauterize wounds, you boil things to get rid of bacteria. Like the idea of using heat as a form of medicine, I think is a really interesting aspect. So I kind of like the idea of this guy being the healer of these people, and there's strength. You also prove yourself, right? You prove yourself by going through the fire, right? Oh, I did have an idea for this place. Yes, there we go. It kind of combines together. Like, healing people, yes, but also proving yourself by, what do you call it? Going through the fire? What is that called? Chat, help me out. There's an expression, right? Like going through the flames, going through fire to like prove yourself. There's obviously in the kitchen or whatever. Is that an expression? I feel like it is. I'll just write it down for now. By being tested by flames. I don't know. Like standing the heat. Can you stand the heat? By going through the fire, whatever. But the most important part is that he can. I know what you're on, but I don't know the phrase either. Yeah, that's okay. Hey, oh, that's an interesting name. Acryliex? Acryliex? Or is it like French, like where half the letters are silent, so it's like acrylier? How's it going? Welcome. If you're new here, we make a game called Legends of Avalon, which is inspired by Celtic Welsh mythology, and we're currently writing lore for our huge world guide that we funded on Kickstarter last year, and we're currently building out his like a draft of the book, and we're currently writing lore for one of our otherworldly realms for the god of strength, justice, and crafting. The Everfather. Doing good, just waiting for my session to start in 3.5 hours. Awesome. What are you playing? What game? And what's your campaign about, I guess? So where was I? Right, yeah, so I like the idea that Belanus, because he's a god of healing and fire, he can purify souls. Like, because we have this idea in our other world, which is kind of reflective of the Celtic traditions and lore and legends, that once you die, your soul goes to the other world, right? And while you're there, you can become a fairy, or you can become another being. Like, your soul can be reshaped into something else. And when the gods do that, you become a fae. You become like a servant to a greater purpose. You can help your former ancestors, that kind of thing. But souls that aren't worthy of that honor are left, abandoned, and we call them unshapen. They're unshapen souls. And unshapen souls kind of have to fend for themselves in the other world, and a lot of them can become corrupted. And then they are the ones that turn into like the fiends and the evil creatures that you might find in the other world. That's where like Balv and She, like the Celtic vampires, come from and things like that. At least in our world. So I like the idea that souls that aren't worthy can come to Belanus and be purified somehow by using his like awesome fire and doing something, and then they can be ready to be shapen. And that's like a unique thing that this guy does, and that's like a form of healing and a form of testing, and that really like builds into everything that Everfather's about, which is really cool. Krele says, D&D 5e 2014. The campaign's about stopping a cult which destroyed my player's village. Oh, you're the game master. Cool. So you can give us all the secrets, unless your players obviously see the stream. Stopping a cult which has destroyed my player's village and kidnaps a lot of the townspeople. Right now they're in a city state and 2 pieces just... Holy crap, 2 of your PCs just died? That's awesome. As a game master, that's awesome. Cool. How did your players take that? I kind of want to ask you 100 questions though already, like how did they die? But obviously you're in a city, so you're going to give them... Is that where the new characters are going to come in through the city, like meet up with people? Cool, that's really cool. Exciting. So yes, our game is made for our original system, Legends of Avalon, which is a game where you begin as humble townsfolk and uses playing cards instead of dice. It's very different from 5e. But the other books that we make, so we've released a huge campaign book, and our campaign book is made for our game, but it's also compatible with 5e 2014 edition. So we like added a bunch of subclasses from our world, so you can get Celtic and Roman inspired subclasses, and then there's just a huge campaign book here that's made for both systems. So yeah, that's what we do. And then we're making a world guide that's also compatible with 5e as well. So 5e players are welcome here, even though we have our own system. So yeah, so you can purify souls. I really like that idea. Unshapen that manage to make the way to Belanus can prove themselves and then walk through the purifying fire. And then be sent to their god, be taken into Fae. And that's already rife with storytelling. Like, you can help a soul make it to this fortress, right? So they can be recovered, or you can help someone who knows that their like father or mother died and was not in good graces, so you could find that soul to bring them there. That's like leads to lots of storytelling, and that's the whole point of this book, is to create lore that enables game masters to write their own quests and adventures, right? So all the lore that we make should kind of inspire ideas and quests. Quote says, I fully intend on using those 5e plus at some point. Cool. Yeah, they're pretty awesome. Acrylate says, there were a lot of tears. Yeah, so yeah, I'll tell you about my experience in a minute. A lot of tears and a burial. Wow, that's awesome. Like, obviously in a sad way, but awesome as in awe-inspiring, right? And the new PCs are some of the kidnapped townspeople who managed to escape their captors. Oh, that's a cool idea. My players are... a fat gnome druid. Good, gotta get that adjective in there. An ever-hungry halfling warlock. And our 2 new PCs of this session, a half-elf paladin and teach wizard eladrin. That's really cool, yeah. So, we're a game designer. I'm a game designer. I make this game now that's published with Modifius and everything like that. And this whole process began from a campaign that I ran in Japan with my now wife and a bunch of friends. And it spanned 2 years. It was awesome. And I started it, and then I handed off the Game Master's hat to other players, and they ran their own adventures inside the world. And then I got the hat back at the end and kind of unified all the adventures under this bigger quest idea. And part of that quest idea was having the players lose. They knew there was this big bad that they kind of unleashed on the world in the first adventure, and then after 4 adventures they came back to try and figure out what was going on, and they were tricked by him. They ended up helping him, and everything went terribly wrong, and then their characters died. And I just made the fight really tough to like force the death, but they didn't realize it was forced, you know? So it was this perfect moment of the players being like, oh shit, we've a total party wipe, what do we do now? I knew it was fine, but they didn't know, and I didn't appreciate beforehand how upset that they would be. They were distraught, and I actually had to kind of take one of them to a side to say, like, don't worry, I've got a plan for this, it's going to be fine, because they were really, really upset about it. But then that made the rest of the campaign all the more better, right? So following their death, like, there was bigger forces at work, and they were then at some point brought back by some kind of like god spirit, I forget exactly what happened, that found their souls and brought them back to the world because they were the only ones that could solve this problem because they were the ones that unleashed it in the first place kind of situation, right? And so then what was fun was that I played like an individual session with each of them in the spiritual world, the afterlife essentially, of them doing their thing, the what rest for them was like in the afterlife, and then how they came back. And then once we did those individual sessions, we came together, and they soon came to realize that I think about 50 years had passed. Like, they didn't know how much time had passed while they were dead, and it turned out I'd been 50 years. So I got to do a time skip, and then it was really fun because they got to see like the repercussions for their failure, but also other things that they set into motion previously. And it was just the best, yeah. And then once they finally defeated the big bad, then we got the final ending. Everyone got their kind of what their characters do at the end, and then everyone cried then as well. So it was that gaming experience is what 100% hooks me with role-playing games, and then put me on the path to like designing my own because I just wanted to make this stuff. So yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad you guys are doing that. Are you streaming it, Acrele, or is it just you're doing it in person, right? That's awesome. Right. Anyway, so Balana's secrets. So this guy's really benevolent. He's really helpful. He's purifying souls and healing people. I don't want to give him like an evil thing. I don't want him to be secretly evil or anything like that. I guess like you could do things like about balance, like maybe there's like a secret evil to it where to purify one soul you have to exterminate another, you know? And so like his fire is fueled by like the irredeemable. Like that could be a thing, but that just sounds so dark, you know? It's kind of cool though. I'll write it down before I forget it in case I want to do it, but like his fire is fueled by, quote, irredeemable souls. And that could lead to other quests as well, so trying to save a soul that's going to be put into this like soul fire forge thing. But that sounds so dark though, but maybe that's a good thing. That's what's a secret, right? Greta says, no, it's online, but we ain't streaming it. Even if we did, it's all in German. I mean, there's German fans out there. You could be serving like a underserved fan base, right? That's cool though. Yeah, I get it. Streaming's hard. And I even though I design role-playing games and make campaign books, I am yet to stream myself game mastering because that's just like a whole nother thing. And I find it super intimidating. Corey says, oh hey, I have a teenage wizard electric in a game I just started. I accidentally made Elsa. Without noticing. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, it's funny how that can happen. Well, I made something recently and I thought, oh, I just made that. I don't remember. But I remember thinking, can we keep it? I was like, yeah, I guess we'll keep it. Like, it's just a coincidence, right? So she's a sorcerer, not a wizard, but still, same thing. Yeah. Okay, I can't think of anything else right now, and I kind of like that idea in the end. Like, it adds kind of a darkness to it. How to get these irredeemable souls, though? I guess just brought to him by other fae. Other fellow fae, I guess. I guess technically these irredeemable souls would also be like fiends and things like that, right? So they'd be brought by the House of Order, the House of Justice, by T. Andraste. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. The fact that now it makes sense, kind of like, because these guys are the hunting fae, right? They kind of help clear up the bad souls and bad fiends from the realm of the other world, and like, I'm sure they could kill these guys, but if they could give them a purpose that makes the sacrifice worthy, that would be even better, right? Even if it means they're kind of subject to oblivion. It's better than death, I guess, or undeath. So I shall witness report to him by T. Andraste. Yeah, that's cool. Right, then we have Taran. He is an old Celtic god, and we know that his name just literally means thunder. Credits go now. Cool. Enjoy your session. Great seeing you, meeting you. We stream this same time every Thursday. So if you're always around waiting for your players or whatever, then you're welcome to come by here and see what we're up to. Oh, but first, now I'm waiting on bated breath. I have a chance to drink some water. Just followed? Thank you, much appreciated. Yeah, enjoy your session, and hell, if you're here next week, let us know how it goes, because I'm always keen to follow other people's campaigns, so yeah. Take care now. Right, so we have Taran, Thunder. His name just means thunder, he's just a thunder guy. He has a wheel with the idea that he could spin the wheel to invoke storms. It is awkward as well, because we have like the House of Storms in the Ever Elders realm, but that's like sea storms, and I guess this is like land storms. Somehow maybe that's different. What does this guy do? What does he do? I mean, thunder starts fires, obviously. Also creates energy. This guy seems so simple, but maybe simple's good. Like, maybe he... like, lightning is something you can redirect, right? Like, maybe he chases energy and fire and lightning and storms and tries to redirect them to, I don't know, something, to feel something. Like, maybe he's rarely at the house because he's always out and about, just gathering stuff and doing things. Typhoons are like sea storms, aren't they? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Storms at sea don't necessarily have to have lightning in them. That's a really good point, Quati. Yeah, you make a good point there. Yeah, in my head, there's a problem with the English language, I guess. I think storm and I think lightning. Yeah. House of Thunderstorm or House of Typhoon or something. Yeah. No, so this guy, Taran, he's going to be like in this house with Tibalanis at the House of Flame. I'm a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Oh, you're a different chatter. Also beginning with A. Welcome, Artifelix. I know a few people that would say that kind of thing to me, so I wonder if you know me in real life or if it's just a random thing that you said. Welcome to my chat. We're making a Celtic Welsh mythology inspired world guidebook that's compatible with our own game, Legends of Ireland, and also with 5th edition. And I'm currently brainstorming lore for the otherworldly realm of our Everfather, which is one of our gods, and his fairy courts. Yeah, quite so that really helped me a lot there, actually. You're just distinguishing, not all storms have thunder in them. Okay, I'm going to just write down that idea I had now. It's just that Taran chases energy. Yeah. Grand fires. Chases energy. Most notably, the giant lightning strikes that occur all across the mountainside. Why does he chase this stuff? I don't know. He stores it within himself. Like he wants to get struck by it, stores it within himself. This is just me like being creative and brainstorming on the spot, but you guys are welcome to give ideas. Stores it within himself and then does what with it? Brings it back, and I mean, like the obvious thing is that like it feels the fire thing that Blunnis does, but we already have that idea kind of covered. Quality, it makes sense for the Everfathers to be like lightning storms, but Ever Elders immediately give. Yeah, exactly. I agree. I really appreciate that. You like fixed my brain on that matter. What does this guy do with lightning and thunder? I mean, he could use it to defend the fortress, I guess. Bring it back to... Like, maybe it's just okay if this guy just likes it. Like, does he have to have a purpose? To unleash it on enemies? On enemies of his house? Or enemies that attack the fort? Or maybe he uses it to redirect the lava flows to help shape the mountain. Or redirect... I don't know how lightning redirects lava flows, but... We're just coming up with ideas right now. Redirect lava flows to the mountain. I just kind of like the idea of just one guy just being a bit simple. Like, he just loves lightning. And that's fine, you know? The problem with that is what I said before, like all this lore, we want it to inspire adventures, and that doesn't inspire adventure in my mind. Except for if you see this guy doing that, but then how do you help him, you know? Or what would you do with him to make it interesting? Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but I'll just leave it as that for now. There's some ideas there. Okay, and then Borvo and Bormana. This is another couple. A lot of couples in the Everfather's realm. Their names literally mean like bubbling, and they're about hot springs and healing. So under the fire. This one is kind of obvious. Like they just have hot springs, right? They have hot springs, and these hot springs also feel like the hot springs in Avalon as well, something like that. And we have a lot of healing locations in the other worlds. A lot of them involve water as well. We have one, I think, in the Everchild's realm that grants protections. One in the Evermother's realm that does healing. So, I don't want this to also do healing because we've already done it, but maybe it's still fine if there's 2 healing water locations in the other worlds. They create hot springs. And if they're about earth fire, then maybe they are the ones that redirect the lava flow. They create hot springs and redirect lava flows to help create and shape the mountain. Hot springs. In a noon. These. Okay, hot springs in a noon. In a noon. And Avalon and fuel Avalons. What does hot springs do? I mean, the obvious thing again is that they're healing. These hot springs can heal. But maybe. Okay, so there you go. That's the thing we could do differently. Like if the Evermother wants to heal, they cure sicknesses, right? And the Everchild's ones give you protections to prevent things from happening and give you luck and that kind of stuff, then we should tie this one into what the Everfather's about. And he's all about like martial, physical strength and contests. And I don't know about you guys, but when I pick things up that are heavy, the next day my back hurts, right? And so maybe this can be about, instead of healing, but about recovery. So I don't know how we would distinguish that. Maybe we don't need to. We just say that's about recovery. And field ones, these hot springs grant miraculously fast recovery for what do I say here? Exercise exercise caused injuries, basically strains and injuries. Strain. Well, I guess we call them injuries, right? Strains and injuries, exercise injuries. It doesn't matter. We can write down later what it is. First, strains and exertion and injuries caused by sport, combat, work, exertion. So it's like this is like the place you want to go after a hard day's work. Quilly says maybe like recovery being assisting in natural process. Exactly. Yeah, you're right. You got it. You nailed it. Yeah, assisting in a natural process. 100%. Miraculous, fast, recovery, fast, natural, natural. What's here? Fast, natural recovery. Yeah, you're right. Like it doesn't. It doesn't. If you weren't going to recover from it naturally, then it doesn't help. Like if you've got some kind of sickness, it won't help with things that have come into your body from elsewhere. Yeah, I like that. That's a good point. Yeah, I like it. Thank you, Kwasi. That's actually great. When these hospitals grant miraculous, fast, natural recovery for strange injuries caused by sport control, not sickness, disease, etc. Cool. Yep. They also use the earth. Eat Mother Earth, something. Cool. That's awesome. Alright, now it's like the time where I would normally stop streaming, but we've got one more to go, so I just feel compelled to do it. Again, we kind of said there what they do, but I guess what they do is interesting enough, right? So it doesn't need any more secret than that. So yeah, I might as well just finish this last one as well, or at least attempt it. So T Andraste, this is our these are the defenders. This is our combat. Each of the courts has like a house that's responsible for the wild hunt. And the wild hunt is for fighting the Theathra, like the giant titan creatures that haunt the other worlds, like the dragons and the giants, that kind of thing, as well as the other lesser fiends. And for the Everfather, this is T Andraste, what we're calling at the moment the House of Order. Yeah, I don't think it'll be that much longer, but yeah, I appreciate the the enthusiasm, Qwerty. T Andraste, yeah. So we mentioned from last stream, they have this giant fort that encompasses like a whole segment of the mountain, right? It's the biggest fort in the world, or at least in Nirvana. It spans the entire circumference of the mountain, and there they launch the giant eagle. So these guys, this is this artwork again. I'll put this on the stream because the artwork's so good. Spread Everfather's Realm. That's this artwork. So this is what these guys are up to. They ride these giant eagles and fight dragons on top of them, and other such creatures. That's what they do, and that's where they live. So once again, we have 3 Telwith Taig. We have the leader Andraste, whose name literally means victory, I think. And then we have Lugus Longarm, the super handsome guy that Zilfi's a big fan of. And then we have Colchidius, a war hunting god, the red one. So what are these guys up to? God, I'm already stuck. Andraste's whole thing is order, justice, and victory. So she's been praised to by warriors. I just kind of want her to be a badass. I want her to be the most badass, paladin kind of esque, holy warrior with strict, a strict moral compass. I'll just write that down, I guess. She is the most bad ass paladin warrior with a strict asterisk. What do you do? With a strict moral code. Yeah, quite. I think I talked about this in the stream before, but I'm pretty sure. I can't prove it, but I'm pretty sure Tolkien's giant eagles were inspired by these creatures. Um, they're called the Adar Llwch Gwyn, and that name literally means like giant red and white eagles, I think. And they like feature in Welsh Celtic mythology. And what's really cool about them is that they can talk and they can reason, and they kind of take things literally. Like the story they're involved with is like this guy has these great eagles and he wants to ride them into battle, and he commands the eagles to kill like the first things that leap into battle, and then this warrior gets bored of waiting for the battle to start and charges in, and then the eagles kill him. They peck him to death. So I've kind of embraced that and said that these eagles are really smart and they like riddles and puzzles, and they like people to prove to them that they have the intelligence to be worthy of their respect, and only then will they like help you or ride you, otherwise they will peck you to death. I know you said you wouldn't want a court justice sort of thing, but would you like go around taking down Fae that don't hold up to the other followers' ideals? Yeah. Probably. Because I know a dog called Gwyn, yeah. Cool. Yeah, Sphinx-like. Yeah, you're right, Sphinx-like. Yeah. See, there you go. That what was it we said earlier? We just reinvented something. I've already forgotten what that was about. Like, oh, you said that. You just recreated Elsa. It's like, well, I just recreated Sphinxes, right? But yeah, there you go. I just remade Sphinxes. So yeah, she. You're right. She should be like an enforcer figure as well. Perhaps. Yeah. Most badass paladin, warrior with strict moral code. She is also an enforcer figure within the Everfather's realm and beyond. But like with the Everfather has a really important attachment to the Everpact, the code that the other gods must live by and not interfere with the Valen too much. And the Fae can move between realms. I do feel like Andraste might sometimes turn up in other people's courts and be like, hey guys, we know you've been doing this, cut it out, otherwise there might be repercussions. And to other courts. So now, see now, thank you. Again, Quetzy, you've been really great at this stream. Like just a little thing like that, like poking me, is the kind of thing that you need when you're being creative to like take you down a road. And now this is already really intriguing, right? Like, yeah, they're enforcer for their own Fae, but also for the other courts, which means this Fae goes to other courts, which means other courts probably hate her, right? And she doesn't care that they hate her. But the fact that they hate her just leads to interesting storytelling. So, yeah, that's cool. What have you said in chat? Monkey Boy 2020. Monkey Boy, have you been around before? I feel like you've been around before. I think you were here last stream, right? So if you are, welcome back. Side irons, good ideas were being made, worth making twice. Yep, that's a great phrase. I like that. Thank you, Quetzy. If any everyone would have a police-like figure, it'd be their father. Exactly, yeah. I have. Cool, awesome. Welcome back, Monkey Boy. So if you were here last stream, we kind of made these otherworldly fort locations, and in this stream, we've been coming up with ideas for the leading Fae figures that run each of these forts. No, I really appreciate Quetzy. It's exactly what I need. I find it really difficult to do it by myself, but if there's just anyone to bounce any ideas off, it just really helps like fuel the process. No, it's off you, good, don't you worry. There's no pressure to contribute. I know you're still there, yeah. And it's always appreciated. Right, so there is one extra thing here that I don't know how I'm going to include this, but there is this legendary tale that admittedly is spoken by the Romans. But, you know, we take what we can get when it comes to the histories. And the tale of Boudica involves her releasing a hare, like rabbit, in Andraste's name, and divining the victory that she had over the Romans by the direction that the hare ran. My first initial thought is not to directly tie it just to a hare. Like perhaps it could be any animal, like bird signs as well. And it's Andraste's way of interfering with human affairs, because the Fae are permitted to do that somewhat, and she can like give guidance to people on how they might get victory for a battle that would help her cause or something like that, I guess. It is a bit particular and specific, but that's then me embracing the very little things that we have, and so I feel like it's important to include that kind of stuff. Yeah, one of my 2 new players is picked to be an Erexian Alchemist, and I'm excited about that. Awesome. Oh, awesome. Erexian Alchemist. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's funny as well, like the Alchemist in the book is Erexian, because we thought that would be an interesting like story for people from outside of Ireland coming here. One of the motivations would be they're like an alchemist and they're looking for new herbs and things like that, especially from the other world, right? So that's really cool. Yeah, nice. So maybe that's her secret. Like she plays favorites. Braste plays favorites with leaders. She feels best she feels best aligned leaders that she feels best aligned. Whatever, I don't remember right now. She feels best aligned with her father's ideals, and it makes sense as well because, like we said before, this court is in charge of the Great Eagles, and so the leader of this court should have some kind of affinity with birds and animals. So yeah, it kind of does all come together actually. The other deals and commands animals, particularly birds, give signs to those leaders before battles, let them know if they are favoured with victory or not. Yeah, it's kind of perfect. Actually, I'm really happy with this at the end because it's literally what we know from the histories, and it makes sense with her being with this bird kind of theme. Yeah, that's just nice, and it's another way. And what I like about it as well is it's a way for the world to act like how you might imagine. Like obviously we know of stories of people using science to predict victories, but this is a fantasy world, right? And we want those things to be real sometimes, and this is a way to make that happen. And you could also have leaders that think they're seeing signs and trusting them when of course they haven't seen them because they're not at all worthy and they just think themselves worthy, and that's fun too. Cool. Yeah, that's great actually. I like that. See, this is why we do stuff, even if we're not sure about it. Cool. Okay, now we've got Zilfia's favourite character, Lugus the Long Arm. Gorgeous, handsome, youthful, wielded an unstoppable fiery spear and a sling, had a hound named Phalanus, skillful in all skilled tasks, so a great warrior, has an affinity with oaths, war, kinship, plus craftsman skills, trade and harvest, so just everything, you know. And he left the Teatro Danon into battle. He's an inventor of games and contests. This is really important to me, because an important part of their father's contests. So we definitely want to include that. I like the idea of just him being super skilled, but I think focusing it on the martial aspect instead. And then also the oaths is really important too. So I'm going to write down here, I'm going to write down contests, oaths, skill. And the skill part, maybe the oaths here aren't as important as the contests, because obviously contests generate skill, and so having those two things tied together, I think it's going to be really important in this chat. My guy, yeah. So that's my thing to you, Zilfia. As this being your favourite deity, how do you feel about that depiction of him being someone who's in charge of contests and battle, and using contests to help make the soldiers more prowess, and that's where they get their skill from as well, and they're like the ultimate contest leader, skill person kind of situation. And then obviously the best part about this is then players can prove themselves in these contests. And even if you lose, that's okay. It's the taking part that counts, right? Hiding games and things like that. They care about tossing. Yeah. So we have the yeah, you're right. Actually, good point. So we have the K-bar games in the Pendrijkland, right? And it's a key plot point in Against the Fairy Queen. But we should have the other world version of that. Yeah, 100%. Cool. Okay. So he leads the otherworldly super version of the K-bar games. He is the skill tester, and creates new content, creates ever new and more difficult. And here we go. You ready for this? Here's the best bit. Creates ever new and more difficult challenges and contests, but always proves they are doable by forming the challenges himself first. So he leads by example, right? He won't give someone else a challenge that he cannot then complete himself first. Yeah, he would be the most skillful in the class. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then finally, of course, running all of these contests have also made him an exceptional warrior. Yeah. Nice, or is that an ego thing? Great question, Qwerty. My instinct is both. But I don't know. Sylvia, do you have a handle for this chap? Is he very egotistical? Is he very kind? And is it kind of like a both thing? Like, I feel like there's a part where you kind of transcend ego, where you know that you're the best, but it's not something that you tell everyone, but you still prove it. Like, I don't know. Actually, ego and self-law, he's very kind to everyone. Okay, cool. Then maybe I don't know if I need to get stuck in these particulars, but like it could be that he does these challenges himself in private first, which is then him not proving it in front of everyone and being show off, right? But also maybe what you said, Qwerty, is it's fine. Like if you do it in front of people, it's to inspire them, not to. It's to show them that it's possible and how to do it. Like it could be pedagogical. So I'm not sure. Perform the challenge himself first. Does he do this privately? Not to show off. Is he humble? Or does he... Yeah, what do you think, Zilpha? Does he do it in front of everyone? I kind of want to do it in front of everyone, you know? In his story where he's first introduced, he doesn't rub his skill in people's faces. Pure shows it as fact and leaves it at that. Right. So what do you think on this situation then? Do you think he always performs the challenges first in front of everyone to show them that they're possible? Or does he do it in private first to generate the challenges and ideas and then give them to other people and they trust that he's done them? Like, that's a way to do it as well. Like if we could include the ideas of oath and truth-telling, then it could be that everyone around trusts him, and so they always know that. That's like a way I can write it into the law, that everyone knows that he's done these tasks first. He would show to prove it's possible. Okay. then we'll leave it at that then. He always proves they are doable by performing the challenges himself first. Yeah. Cool. Alright, that's great then. I don't think he needs a secret thing. I think that's just like a fun prompt that could be used for adventures anyway. I don't know what to do about his sling and his hound. Like either... Zilpha, you must know about these items, right? Obviously, they're probably super important to his character, and I can just mention them in passing that they're there, you know? Like, it could just be part of the sentence rather than focusing on it, because is that one of those things where if I didn't mention it, it'd be like, well, why didn't you mention that? It's like, well, if I could just include it, then I should just include it, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna do it like that. Yeah, something like that. I like that. He's really cool. Which is probably why you like him. The sling is important to his lore. The hound, depending on which one, isn't mentioned much. Okay, good. I mean, because we're always looking